We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Coriander, what's going on? What's going on?
How are you?
I'm good. Hey. Good. Good. All right. So tonight, this is going to be pretty cool because tonight we're going to be talking about a movie that I've rarely heard anyone talk about, at least not recently. And this is a movie that really, it was just a really cool ass movie that I saw when I was younger. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have to tell you that this is the first time that I've seen this, and
okay,
I like this movie.
That's good.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is like, because I love They Live, okay? And this movie kind of reminds me of that movie. So I'm a fan. First time I started watching this, it's like, I kind of figured out what was going on, and it's a good one.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The parallels to They Live. Excellent point. Excellent point. Before we begin on our review of to what I think is the 1987 classic, The Hidden, let's see who we have in the chat with us today. Let's see. We've got Phil's creepy video saying you are officially 7 minutes late. You know, Phil, you got to love technology. You know how that is. You know what buffering is like. We've got MC saying, hey, everyone. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? We got Eric in the chat saying, this alien just wants to do what we all want to do. Drive fast cars, listen to rich music, rock music, and eat lots of food that's bad for you. Nice. Phil says, The Hidden is a hidden gem. Pun intended.
Yes. It really
is, man. Mm-hmm. It really is. We got MC saying, friendly reminder to hit that like button. Thank you so much. Yes, please hit the like button. Please, please, please. That will help us out so much as we struggle. We get ourselves situated again on this channel. Trenchy's in the chat saying, what's up? Never heard of this one.
Oh, Trenchy, you got to check this out, man. It's a good one.
That's why we like doing these, to hopefully spread the word. Let's see. Eric says, we did a body hopping episode for Two Bearded Losers. Yes, you did.
Nice.
Yes, you did. And of course, and I know Eric's probably waiting for this one, but of course, Jason Goes to Hell utilized the idea of this movie. So that's why it's forever, connected. When I first saw Jason Goes to Hell, I was like, wait a minute. They're doing the same thing they did in The Hidden.
Nice.
Phil says,
but I see that now. Now that you said that, because I never. Yeah.
That's right. Phil says, I always do The Hidden and Dead Heat double feature. They go so well together. That's a good point, man. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. I think we got everything situated. So, this is going to be interesting talking about this movie. And let's see where we get to. We're going to finish getting set up. So for you guys in the chat. Okay. All right. Let's get down to brass tacks. So this movie, I just want to start this out. I saw this movie when I was obviously very young. It was one of those movies that we went to Blockbuster. And for you guys in the chat, a lot of you guys I know remember this. We went to Blockbuster. It's a Friday night. Me and Killian, we're excited because we can get 2 or maybe 3 movies to rent over the weekend. And the best part about going to video stores back then was you a lot of times went in with no specific agenda what you were going to get. You know what I'm saying? You'd look at the new rentals, and then usually for myself, I gravitated towards the horror section.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes sci-fi as well, but usually horror. And a lot of times you're just looking at the cover. And I think Eric has said many times in the chat, the cover art of a lot of these movies was it really drew you in. you know?
Yeah, it did.
And I'll never forget, I saw the cover for this movie and I was like, wow, that looks awesome. And of course, I'd read the back of it and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, this sounds really good. And I didn't know what it was about. I hadn't heard of it. Of course, back then, you didn't really hear about movies like we do obviously now. Everything's
Right.
on the internet, everything's on, being commercialized and trailers up the wazoo. But anyways, point being, I took this movie home, I watched it, and it was awesome. I watched it
Yeah.
once. I said, I gotta watch it again. And I'm gonna drag my brother into this. And I and I can't remember how young he was at the time. He might only been like 9. But
Nice.
I got him to watch it. He loved it too, man. This is a really cool sci-fi horror. It has some dark comedy in it and
It's a
action.
thriller too.
This,
Yeah. It's got like
yes,
everything.
yes. It's a mystery. I mean,
Hmm.
the movie is so cool, and like I said, a lot of people don't talk about it. So I'm glad we're getting a chance to talk about it a little bit, bring some exposure to it. So
Yeah.
let me start with you. What were some of your thoughts about this movie as it began? Because that was the thing. When it began, it was kind of like, wow,
Yeah.
what is this about?
Yeah, because it's like this dude's robbing a bank. Okay. I didn't
Hmm.
really know what to expect. But
Right,
yeah, as it
right.
got going and you get into the car chase, it's like, okay, we
Yes,
got some good action. I mean, this is like a
absolutely.
past-paced movie, holy good God, a fast-paced movie. Jeez.
Right, right, right.
And I mean, I was hooked from the beginning. And once you kind of
Yeah,
saw what was going on, and, when you first saw the thing come out and go into someone else, you're like, oh, wow. And then once the
yes.
FBI agent comes into it too, I mean, he even acts a little weird. So, it's
Right.
like, what the
Played
hell's going
played
on
by the
here?
great Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Yeah, I mean, it just started off like bam, and it was just gone. I mean,
Yeah.
you would have thought it was an action movie because the car chase scene was
Definitely.
fantastic. You got the
Yeah.
rocking music like Eric was talking about, and
Yep.
explosions. And I mean, look, there was there was more action in this movie than a lot of action movies, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it had plenty of sci-fi, plenty of
Yeah, it
horror as
did.
well. It was such a great mashup. Real quick
Right?
in the chat, just to catch up to you guys here. You guys are working hard, man. Um, let's see. We got Slasher Fred in the chat saying the plot of this movie kind of reminds me of the 90s movie Fallen that also involves body jumping. Exactly. Yeah. Except this came first. So, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Eric says, well, I wasn't going to mention Jason Goes to Hell at all. However, since you already did, nice. uh, MC says, new to your channel, heard about your situation from J-Man, so decided to check you out. Most people know me as Miss Carter, MC, easier to spell. Oh, well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming to the channel.
Right?
Jason is awesome. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been through some stuff, but we got to keep moving forward, man. We got to keep moving forward.
That's right.
Um, Trenchy says, dope intro, man. Thanks a
Isn't
lot.
it? Yeah.
Thanks, man. It says a lot if you pay attention to it. Trenchy says, it's funny you mentioned Blockbuster because I tagged you in my buddy's Junebug's Blockbuster Memories tag if you want to participate, only
Nice.
if you want to. Cool, man. I'll have to definitely check that out. Junebug is awesome. Let's see. Eric says, yep, 90% of the time I rented movies based on how cool the VHS cover was. Hardly ever read
That's
the
right.
description on the back. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what drew you in. It
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 was.
really drew you in.
Yep.
Yeah. Junebug says, I love the third movie in this series. Jason Goes to Hell. Laugh out loud. Joke. Nice.
Oh,
Eric Eric says, I always said, like a novel, a movie has to draw you in from the beginning. And wow, this did just that. Amazing
yes,
opening
it
sequence with the
did.
robbery and car
Yeah.
chase. Yeah. Fred says Kyle MacLachlan also played an FBI agent on the original Twin Peaks. Yes, he
Yeah.
did. Yes, he did. Well,
And this
for
was the first
me,
movie
and
I saw him in, and let
oh,
me tell. Well, not him, but the detective man. Who was that guy? Beck.
oh, Tom Beck. Yeah, Tom Beck played
Yeah,
by Michael Nouri.
yeah. I thought he was really
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, he
So
was.
anyway,
He really
he
was.
was. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, um, it just had a lot of cool stuff, and I was really, obviously now looking back, which is the benefit of doing these reviews, especially with older movies, I'm really surprised that it didn't make an even bigger splash back then,
I
or
know. Yeah.
obviously boosting the careers of Michael Nouri. Kyle MacLachlan did fine, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Jack Shoulder was the director. And as everyone, especially in the horror community, knows, he was the director of A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. And, New Line Cinema obviously had a connection with him. Bob Shea, the president of New Line Cinema. So they hired him. You see a lot of the same faces. You've got Clu Gallagher from, Freddy's Revenge and, of course, Return of the Living Dead fame. You've
Yeah.
got the godmother of horror, Lynn Shay herself. She's also in this movie. She plays, kind of a minor part, but she's in it as
Yeah.
well. And it was really cool seeing her as well. So, you kind of got the New Line people, in this movie.
Mm.
But anyways, once we get through that fantastic opening, that's where it starts to really get into, it's a little bit of a buddy cop film because you've got
Yeah.
Michael Nouri, who's, the grizzled veteran cop. And,
Yeah.
he's one of the best. And he's
Mhm.
partnered up with Kyle MacLachlan, who's an FBI agent. And MacLachlan is trying to find this guy that robbed the bank. But what he doesn't know
Yeah.
is that he was stopped by the police and he was placed in the hospital, supposedly in a coma and so forth. And this is where the movie takes a left turn because you're thinking to yourself, okay, if you don't know what's happening, and by the way, Trenchy and anyone else, this is where we get into a little bit of spoiler territory. So I want to make sure that I warn you guys we're getting into spoilers. But this is where the thing takes a left turn because you had this kind of buddy cop thing going on. And all of a sudden you see the guy in the hospital who he's not dead and something is inside of him.
Yeah, man.
And it does not look cool. It does not look
No.
cool at all.
No.
So it's an alien parasite. And the idea of it is that this alien can come out of the host. It goes into people to take it as a host and so forth. And when that body is damaged beyond control, which had happened to the bank robber in the beginning of the movie, it has to leave that body and find another host, another living host. I won't get into much more than just saying that it could be any living host.
Anything.
And so that right. So that hospital scene was pretty like, wow, what the hell's going on? I got to admit, man, even rewatching this, because, I rewatched it for this episode, that scene still kind of got me, man, because I was just like, oh, that is so gross.
Yeah. Well,
And
when it first starts coming out, you're thinking, what is this, like some type of a spider type of thing? But then it looks like a slug.
yes,
And yeah.
right.
It doesn't look pretty.
Yeah, it does not look pretty at all. And
No.
so, but again, rewatching this movie is, 30 something years old. It still looks good. It looks
does.
good. It's
It really
practical
does.
effects. It's not CGI. And I know a lot of people watching, especially if you've watched us for long enough, we talk a lot about practical effects are so wonderful if they're done correctly. This is another case of that. The practical effects are very, very good. So this is where the movie takes a turn into like straight sci-fi and horror, because once the alien goes to another host, it's basically a game of, okay, I see where this is going. It can inhabit, and it can be anyone. And that's why the movie is called The Hidden,
Yep.
Real quick in the chat, Junebug is saying, it's always nice to hear a stream and merely people talk about me, the greatest man in the world, according to my girl. Nice one, man. Slasher Fred says, Michael Nuri kind of looks like Chris Sarandon. I guess that's why he was cast in Child's Play. Yes, absolutely. He really does. Junebug says, I love how the original Paul Atreides is in this. A huge Dune fan. Got to point that out. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Junebug says, I'm so glad the alien did not come out of the other end. Right.
Hey.
Trenty says, that alien looks gnarly.
Yeah.
And Eric says, love Kyle M's performance in this. It's so perfect in this because it's so off compared to everyone else. Yeah, he really portrayed the character very well. I don't want to get into I don't want to get into big spoilers because Trenchy has not seen this, but he definitely portrayed an off character. But let's get a little bit past that. So the transfer of the alien happened, and then you've got the middle-aged guy who was in the hospital. God. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, and Coriander, you know this. There were scenes, from this point on out, at least for a good 10 or 15 minutes, they showed him, with the alien inside of him, kind of doing a lot of different things, going to a diner, eating a bunch of food, blasting his music. He's just off. I found some of these scenes so fucking funny. Man. It literally made me laugh out loud. I was like, this is too funny. So again, the movie is having all these little angles to it, and I think it pulls it off very, very well. These aliens, like Eric said earlier, they love the fast cars. They really do.
There was some nice cars in this movie too. So
there was.
It is that going
absolutely.
too. Yeah.
Yes. You got all these, Ferraris and stuff like that. Yeah. Porsches. But then we get to kind of the heart of the movie, because this middle-aged man, unbeknownst to the alien, or maybe it didn't really matter because it had to find another host, he has a bad heart condition. So the alien, even though it can live in a body, it has to obey the health of that body, basically. So he starts having heart issues when he's running down the street and all this type of stuff,
chasing after that Ferrari.
Yes, because he wanted to get that Ferrari bad, man.
Yeah, he did.
He has to find another host. So it gets to the heart of the film, where he goes to this strip club and he's looking around, and it's so funny because he's like just looking around to see who he can. He obviously has to do this in private to have the transfer happen, but he's looking at Claudia Christian, who's playing the stripper role, Brenda Lee. And basically, you already know what's going to happen because he's just gauging the situation. And of course, the whole time you've got Kyle MacLachlan and Michael Nuri. They're trying to find him. They don't know where he's at, and they don't know the condition of the body. Now, as far as Michael Nuri knows, these are just citizens. The original bank robber and this middle-aged man. They're just citizens that have gone awry and amok. He doesn't know anything about the alien parasite. Okay, so that's the important part too in the story. But so the transfer happens, and all of a sudden, Claudia Christian is the alien, and just like with the other two before her, you're talking about fast cars. You're talking about being violent. I mean, she's shooting up cops. She's shooting up people. I mean, like, she's going off like Arnold. I mean, she's literally got freaking an artillery with her, and she's just shooting up people. There's another wonderful car chase, and anyways, point being, the detectives are always 2 steps behind, which of course makes this kind of go at a fast pace. This movie had
cat
a
and
really
mouse
fast
chase.
pace.
Yeah,
absolutely. But while all this is happening, Tom Beck, played by Michael Nuri, and Kyle MacLachlan, they start to, bond a little
Yeah.
bit. They go
I
home
mean,
to
this
Tom's
movie even
place and
has
have
like
dinner.
some tender moments. Yeah.
Right, right. And basically
So,
just getting to know each other
yep.
because, again, Tom Beck is used to doing things on his own, and he had to be paired with this FBI agent who he doesn't know from Adam or Eve. But
Yeah.
like you said, Coriander, they have these tender moments over dinner and start to get to know each other a little bit. And as Eric alluded, there's just something that's a little bit weird with Kyle MacLachlan,
Especially in
who
that
plays
dinner,
Lloyd.
because you could really tell that
Yeah,
there's something. Yeah. He's either
right.
weird or because you're thinking, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Right. He gets
Because,
a little
yeah.
drunk and he gets even weirder.
I
Kyle
know.
MacLachlan, he played this so well. He really
He
did.
did. He did.
Um, but while all that's happening, you still have the alien who's shooting up people like friggin' Arnold cut loose on the city and doing whatever the
Right?
hell she wants. Um,
Yep.
but there's that fantastic scene that they have in the warehouse where it is so action packed. I mean, it seriously is as good as any action movie of that time, as far as just the fast paced nature of it and so forth. I mean, it was really well done. I got to give Jack Shoulder a lot of credit because, of course, with Freddy's Revenge, that movie was so divisive with fans,
Mm.
and I think that this was kind of his rebound film,
He
so to
said that
speak, to
this was
show.
his favorite
You know,
film that he did. So,
nice. I could
yeah.
imagine, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But real quick too in the chat, I'll catch up with you guys a little bit here. Um, let's see. Slasher Fred says there was a Nickelodeon series I remember called Animorphs that also involved people being possessed by aliens. I never saw that one. All right. Junebug, Claudia looks pretty good in the red dress. Right. I think that was the thing. It was so off-putting though, is that she was like devastatingly brutal. I mean, like there was this scene
Yep.
where, and again, the cops are always a step behind in this too, but there's this scene where the cops
Yeah, they are.
actually corner her, tell her to get out of the car. She starts to get out of the car, and the cops are just basically like, "Oh, well, it's just a girl," yada yada yada. And all of a sudden, from behind her back, she pulls out this automatic gun
This
and
huge
boom,
friggin'
just
gun.
blast
Yeah,
them,
man. Yep.
blast them away, man. So it was something. But one of
Yep.
the last things I wanted to mention, so that we don't get into super huge spoilers, is after the warehouse scene, we get to the rooftop scene where the detective and the FBI agent corner her. They finally
Mhm.
catch up to her, and again, there's another big shootout that happens. It's again really fast pace. You've got
Yeah.
that scene where she says, and this was actually in the trailer, and we played this in the opening, where she says, you think it's over, but you're wrong. And the way she said it was so
Yeah.
deadpan and kind of
Yeah.
otherworldly. I'll never forget that. As a kid, I was just like, wow. So, again, you have all these elements. And Lloyd, played by Kyle MacLachlan, basically you get the sense that he knows exactly what's going on, and he knows that this is an
Yeah, he
alien.
does. Yep.
And stuff happens. Beck gets hurt, and
Yep.
then you have the finale, which happens at the police precinct, which again, fantastic action. Shoot 'em
Yeah.
up. I mean, it was
Yep.
really really good. I mean,
It
we
is.
won't talk about the ending, but it was one of those things where you're just like, wow, this is really really cool. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic sci-fi horror movie. You know,
It is.
and
Yep.
I just, like I said, when I was a kid, it really got me. I was just like, man, this is so damn good, and I loved it. I loved it for a long, long time. But
Yeah.
any other final thoughts that you have on it, Coriander? It's such a cool movie. I'm glad that you got a chance to finally
Yeah. Like I said,
check it out.
I've never heard of it. And I'm
Hmm.
kind of bummed that, it's taken me this long to discover it. But I'm glad I did
Well,
because it's like one of my
yeah.
favorite ones. It's right up there with They Live. So yeah.
Hey, man, I'm glad I was able to to
Thank you.
introduce it to you. You've done
Yeah.
that for me and Killian and so many people, so many others. So, but you know, this movie has a 75% Rotten Tomatoes score, so
Nice.
it was very well received by critics.
Definitely.
And Jack Shoulder wasn't the original. He wasn't the original director,
No. Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
he decided. Yeah, he decided to come on to it, and he really saw this as more than just a typical sci-fi action film, and he actually rewrote some of the script to try to kind of delve into a little bit of more of what it means to be human, you know, and that was kind of where he was coming from. There was also a different ending to the film, which was much more bleak than the ending that we have. Which, you know, I gotta admit, I think the ending that we have was a good one. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen this,
Like
but the ending that we
yeah,
have, I
those
think it's
tender
good.
moments. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a
Because
good
it would have
ending, I think.
completely changed if they used the original ending. You know,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
absolutely. I
mhm.
mean, you really, this movie, you really are following these two on this,
Yep.
like you said, a cat and mouse chase. You know, these
Mhm.
guys, even Kyle MacLachlan, even though we know that he knows that it's an alien parasite, he's still two steps behind it, and they're constantly
Yeah.
trying to figure things out. So I think
But he kind of
because you
has
root for them,
to, because you know, like he has to wait for that perfect moment. That's all I'm gonna say.
right? Yeah, there's only one
So,
way that he can defeat the
yep,
parasite. You're right, which
yep,
makes it even more difficult. Yeah.
right.
Um, but because you follow them so closely, I think the ending that we got not only made more sense, but
But
it was
it
more of a
worked.
satisfying ending. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah,
really, really think so.
yeah. I
But
agree.
the other the other thing too that was interesting as a fun fact is that for the role of Beck, instead of Michael Nuri, there were a lot of other actors that were also considered for the role. You had actors like Michael Keaton, Mel Gibson, Stallone, Arnold. I believe even Richard Dreyfuss. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, Kurt
Bruce
Russell.
Willis.
Um,
Yeah,
wow.
and
Yeah.
there were a
I
lot
mean,
more. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So
So
I
the
mean,
fact that
it
this
was
guy
just
got it out of all those guys, wow,
yeah.
good for
Yeah.
him.
No. Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, and I think he did a good job. I
He
think a movie
did.
like this benefited from having, you know, actors that were not as over the top or not as famous. Because again, this is 1987, so all those actors we just
Yeah,
named were so famous, and sometimes that can kind of take you out of the movie a little bit, you know. So
yeah.
I think it was a good choice. I really do.
Me too.
Junebug says, I would have loved to have seen Michael Keaton in a role like this. Stallone would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely. I mean, Keaton can do anything, as far as I'm concerned. Michael Keaton can
Right.
do no wrong. But it would have been interesting to see. Yeah, it really would. Trenchy says, this movie sounds frosty. It
It
definitely
is.
is, Trenchy. Trenchy, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, you got to watch it
Yeah.
ASAP. It might be on Tubi. I can't remember if it is or not. But definitely, Trenchy, this is not only worth your time, it's worth buying. If you can get it, I would say get it. It's definitely very, very cool.
It is.
Eric says, great stream, great movie. Thanks a lot, Eric. We appreciate that.
Right?
But yeah, guys, that's about all we've got. This is definitely one of those recommendations we as the channel make because it is such a good movie. Not many people talk about it. It's the type of movie I'm
Mhm.
glad to revisit fairly often. And like I said, when I saw it as a kid, it totally blew my mind. It was something different. I had not seen anything like this. Really, I haven't seen anything like it since because of the
Yeah.
way that you've got sci-fi, horror, dark comedy, and action, and a few
Yep.
tender moments, like you said, Coriander. So Jack
Yeah.
Shoulder did a very good job with this movie. So
I agree.
yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, guys, that's about all we got for The Hidden from 1987, directed by Jack Shoulder. If you guys could, please make sure you give us a like, share this video with other folks that would enjoy it. That would really help us out as we try to recover on the channel. Trenchy says, great stream, guys. Stay frosty. We appreciate that. We appreciate it a lot, Trenchy. Seriously.
Yeah.
Your support is amazing. We really,
right?
not only do we appreciate it, but we need it more than ever. But anyways, guys, we will catch you guys later. We'll actually be live again at 8 o'clock, kind of getting back to an old series that we started long ago, and it should be really, really fun. So if you get a chance, check us out when we come back on at 8 o'clock p.m., which will be in another 20 minutes. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace out, guys.
Up church.